Ben McKee, West Rucker, Go Vols 24/7 here inside of Little Caesars Arena with our full court press following Tennessee's 72-66 loss to Purdue in the Elite Eight. Tennessee's season comes to an end. There's a lot of branches on this tree, but Tennessee's season comes to an end because of the tree that is Zach Edey.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's no way around saying that. You know, Tennessee played Purdue twice this season. It lost by a combined 10 points. Purdue attempted 81 free throws in those two games, and Tennessee attempted 41. And we can sit here all day and talk about why it happened or should it have happened. It's what happened. It's what happened, right? Tennessee was always going to foul more than Purdue was. Like, we knew that. But that sort of a gap, no matter how it gets there, it's just so hard. I mean, 33-11 in attempts today. Tennessee had to be 25 points better than Purdue to win this game. And Purdue is good enough to where it's almost impossible to be 25 points better than that team. Edey's great. He really is. People give him a hard time, and I think that's unfair. He's not the one making those calls. But the impact he has on the game and the way that things are officiated with him makes it hard. It just does.
It does. And again, there's a lot of branches to the tree. I do think that Tennessee fouled quite a bit today, especially early on, those first couple. But with that being said, there's no way to not look at Zach Edey drawing 16 fouls, only fouling once in 39 minutes as a center in a physical basketball game.
I almost broke decorum in the press area and laughed when the one call was made on Edey, when he put a two-hand shove into the back of a player and shoved him right down here, and Purdue fans were booing like it was an atrocity. It really made me laugh. I mean, but that's sort of how it is. I mean, there was the play where Edey elbowed Awaka, like in the throat basically, to clear out for a rebound, which he got, and then Josiah Jordan-James goes up, hardly touches Edey, and there's a foul on James. I mean, it's just hard, and no one wants to sit here talking about this, but this is what we're talking about because it's the difference. It is one of the biggest differences in the game. Tennessee could have shot better. Tennessee could have not turned it over a couple times. Some things Tennessee could have controlled, without question. But we can't, like, the elephant in the room is the elephant in the room.
It was part of the game. I mean, anybody who doesn't think that was part of the game is a national media member or a Purdue fan. The thing that is igniting college basketball fans is what we are talking about. So it's not sour grapes or anything along those lines. 16-1 is ridiculous for a center in 39 minutes of a physical basketball game. It is what it is. So, and like I said, to start off, there's a lot of branches on that tree. The fouls were one thing. Tennessee also did not have any answer for Zach Edey. And mostly, I thought J.P. Estrella was phenomenal as a true freshman in this moment. I thought Tobe did as well as he could, given the fact that he ended up fouling out. The biggest issue was you got absolutely nothing from Jonas Aidoo. He won the tip. He won the opening tip against Zach Edey. But other than that, you got nothing from Jonas.
Yeah, I think it's really easy from where we are sitting there sipping coffee during a game to say, I don't like to question someone's effort, and I'm not going to do that here. I think most of what we saw today was just math and physics. Edey is 70 pounds bigger than Jonas Aidoo, and they're just about 2 or 3 inches height and different. That kind of, I'm an idiot, right, with math and physics, but I can understand that physically he cannot displace Edey. There is no planet on which he has the strength and the leverage to get in there and get Edey off the block. When Edey gets on the left block, you're cooked. You're just cooked. And you have a choice then. Do you come down and try to rip the ball from a wing, or do you just give Edey the 2 points, or do you leave a three-point shooter and maybe give up a wide-open three? I think Tennessee's game plan today was fantastic. Rick Barnes, throughout this tournament, I think has had really good game plans. They held Purdue to, I think, 3 of 15 from three. You know, to be within 6 points of that team with everything else that we saw, Tennessee makes a couple shots and that changes the game. And I think for all the credit, for all the criticism Rick Barnes gets about March, I think he coached his ass off in this tournament. I really do.
Yeah, my only other takeaway aside from the Edey stuff is that Tennessee had shots down the stretch and it didn't make them. I mean, I didn't think Tennessee's offense played as well as it could have, and I didn't think it was because of turnovers. I didn't think it was because of not getting shots. They got shots. Dalton was phenomenal, 37 points, most ever by a Vol in an NCAA tournament game. But he and a couple of others, they had open looks down the stretch. You needed to I know this sounds real simple. You needed to score more points, but it was going to have to be the offense to overcome the Zach Edey experience on the other end. And they got looks, and they were able to cut it to a one-point game, but they didn't make enough down the stretch. You had to make more shots than Purdue, obviously, in this type of game because of the Zach Edey experience. And Tennessee didn't do that despite getting open looks down the stretch.
Yeah, I think, Connect did his part. Did he play a perfect game? No, but he played a really good game. He played 37 points. He took 31 shots, but that's because a lot of times his teammates were not willing to take shots. They weren't willing to take them. I mean, it's things like, Ziegler, he was happy to shoot early on, but he was struggling from deep. And so he got a little hesitant at times and turned out and made what I thought were a couple decent looks. Josiah Jordan-James makes 2 huge threes early in the game, and he's 3 for 3, and then he only takes 1 shot in the second half. And there were times where guys had open looks and they either didn't take them or they didn't go in. And Connect cannot do it by himself. He can do it some games by himself, like Auburn, you get away with it, right? He just needed help. And it wasn't going to be Adu in this game because he wasn't playing well enough to stay in the game, right? Ziegler was having a hard time connecting from deep. It just wasn't his best game. It had to come from somewhere else. Or else Connect was going to have to score 50, which maybe he could do, but he's got to have help.
Yep, and he did not get that help down the stretch. Tennessee season comes to an end here in Detroit. We've got plenty of coverage of the loss up at the site, and we'll have plenty of coverage over the next couple of days, putting a bow on what was a very successful season for Tennessee. SEC champs and an Elite Eight appearance for the second time in program history, and you kind of ran into a folk hero on the other side.
Yeah, I think, listen, this team had the potential to at least get to a Final Four, and it didn't get there. It got close, but it didn't get there. But to me, there's been so many seasons recently where you've left the end of it saying, you had more. You should have had more. I think for the most part, they got what they could out of this season, given, I mean, they were really close to getting to a Final Four, and they lost to a team that it's just hard to beat sometimes. And so I don't think there's any great shame in this whatsoever. Like, I think there's this whole March Barnes thing needs to go away, I think, for a little bit now. These guys showed some toughness, some mental toughness in this game. Texas to withstand that the way they did. Creighton to withstand some of the stuff they did there. Man, this is one of the best seasons this program's ever had. So if you're going to call these guys losers, you got to call everybody who's ever played for or coached for this program a loser, because this group of guys, this senior group with Barnes, has been the best 5-year run the program's ever had.
And we'll have plenty of coverage to put a bow on this season. He's Wes Rucker. I'm Ben McKee.